do it?
The Most High said, don't give up. Don't give up. And you might go through some challenges, but don't give up. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your patience, listeners, viewers, live on the Roots Reggae Hub. I'm your Lady Sharon here today, your host. And I have with us a very special lady, Sophia Jackson. Sophia Jackson is an author, speaker, singer, songwriter, financial well-being coach, child and youth counselor, investor, and now a candidate for the PDSB Trustee Brampton Wards 1 and 5. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is amazing, amazing. I'm grateful that we got through. We didn't give up.
No, we don't give up. We just keep going, keep going.
Yeah, can't give up.
I switched to I was using my phone and then I switched to my iPad.
Okay, so that might be the bonus. This was my first time actually going on the live without the other end, and we were just patched in. So I was actually logged in for the first time on my own. So now I'm not. It is what it is. It's all good. And we're happy to have you. And I'm telling you, one of the things that I'm excited that you are running for school board trustee wards 1 and 5 in Brampton is because you won't give up on those children, on the families. You're there for them. You have the backend, the education, like you're well-rounded.
Yeah.
Tell us, a little bit about yourself, Sophia, and why you even decided to put your name in the ballot for the municipal campaign.
Well, you've like all of those things, they're titles, right? A child and youth counselor, singer, songwriter, author, financial wellness coach, professional. But what they all come together to say is that I have a unique set of skills, a particular set of skills that make me a good fit for this role as trustee. I'm pretty confident in saying that I don't think any trustee, even like the candidates that are running, as well as the incumbent, has the background that I have, being a front line, supporting young people, supporting families, doing restorative practice and restorative justice in order to handle and diffuse conflict. Like I bring all of that, supporting teachers, principals, superintendents, being at the table when we're talking about a young person's education plan and things like that. So having that lived experience and bringing that to the table when we're having conversations about budgeting and what some of the supports, if there's going to be more supports in classrooms, I can say with certainty, absolutely yes, we need more support in classrooms, and bring that to the table. So I do have a varying set of skills. I feel like I've lived a few different lifetimes, but all of them do just really prepare me. I feel like being trustee and being elected as trustee, that I've been preparing for this, over the last several years of my life.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm excited. Just to have you here, on our platform, it's because we actually believe in what you're bringing to the table, your initiatives. We're going to talk a little bit about those initiatives. For those of you who are just joining, we are here today with Sophia Jackson. She's running for school board trustee in Brampton, wards 1 and 5. And, Sophia, I want to know, in the perfect utopia, what would schools look like in wards 1 and 5? What would they look like?
Well, in my perfect utopia world across Canada, yes, schools would be experiential learning. They would model some of the the school systems that we know to be thriving in different parts of the world. You know, there's other places in the world that are doing it in ways that are considered to be unconventional, but that are working, and to maybe take notes from some of these other school systems, and also to have an education assistant or a behavior teaching assistant or behavior EA, an ECE like we have in our kindergarten classroom, somebody that has worked in that capacity. Because at the end of the day, we're social workers, we're child and youth counselors. Those are the credentials that we have, and then we're bringing them to an EA role or a BEA role. And to have one or two of us in every classroom, regardless of whether there's a student that has been allocated, because that's what happens. You get an allocation of 0.6. So how do you bring a 0.6 of a person into a classroom? I don't. Oh, yes. Yeah. This is how it's done, right? And so,
and with the school board trustee, be able to make those calculations a bit better with your financial background. 6 of a person.
At the yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, I'm going to be one of 12 voices at the table, but I know what I've done as a youth counselor, and as in the other areas that I've worked in, and I know how I show up, and I know that I have a voice that is, non-threatening. That's very calming. This is what I'm told.
Yes, I've heard. Yeah.
That I come across in a way that people will listen, so I can advocate for our young people at the table, our families, our community, and that's what I intend to do. So, yeah.
Create that balance within the schools. It's critical. It's critical to have a successful school, a successful experience. For a lot of young people, it's honestly, Brampton's a hard municipal where public school is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
There's
a lot of challenges. What I experienced is, there's a lot of, there's bullying, there's, behaviors, and then that was even before the pandemic. So we're going back into schools, in classrooms, and after this 2 years, which from a mental health standpoint has wreaked havoc. And I think that it's unfortunate that we haven't put the same level of emphasis and attention that we did on wearing a mask to how this is landing on people from a mental health standpoint.
Yeah.
If we put the same level of attention to how we handled the pandemic, if we put that into how we handled our young people and adults from the mental health standpoint, then we would be in a lot better position. I mean, just the access to devices, the being able to be online, the socioeconomic barriers, like all of those things just got amplified when we went into the pandemic. And then, healing needed to be done, but hasn't been in a lot of cases. And now it's like, whoop, we're back in school. I was at the door because I've been door knocking, connecting with community, obviously. And I spoke to an education assistant who is working at a school right now, since the beginning of September, obviously. And she's like, we're not even done the first month of school, and she's already burnt out because there's been a high level of behaviors. And I see behavior as a language. I know a lot of, it's from my standpoint, it's a way that young people communicate. And we have to listen to that communication and be able to decipher what they're communicating through the behaviors that they're displaying. And that's what, you know, as an EA, that's what you see. You see, okay, how can I support, as opposed to reprimand or restrain or call police or whatever the case may be. And so there's a lot happening. A lot of healing has to happen, and I don't know if I can do, I know I can do that in a classroom, you know, but being able to do that from a trustee standpoint, I hope that I can encourage the other trustees to keep those things in mind when we're making decisions.
Yes. And at least you'll have more access as well to a broader scale of students, you know, in terms of being able to influence or you know, just making a creative, you know, a great experience, creating a great experience for students that are going to be going, you know, in this school in this era and time. Now let's fast forward a little bit into October 24th,
Yes.
Election Day.
Yeah, they call it E-Day.
They pull out your name out of the ballot, school board trustee, and now what would your focus first be in the first year, like of as a school board trustee in the first year of the first term?
Well, I think the first point of business is to have the supervision lifted. I have been reading articles, and the Minister of Education would like to see a new batch of trustees come in so that they can feel confident to remove the supervision that was put in place.
Can you explain what the supervision is? Like exactly, like
Yes, basically there's been another, like a third party who has been assigned by the Minister of Education to oversee everything that happens from the trustees level. So we had our voter rights have been taken away. So we basically don't have, the current trustees don't have power right now, and they can have discussions and forward their recommendations, but they're not voting on issues. And that was put into place.
sitting in council, you wouldn't be able to vote on issues?
That's how things are currently. Yes, that's what the supervision.
I'd like to believe you, right?
Sorry.
That will be changed, or is like you need that super. I guess that's the first order of business.
Yes, is to have that removed. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And to and then, but they need to have confidence that the trustees that have been voted in, that they can do that they can remove the supervision. So that's why everybody that's listening and watching, we really need people to vote so that we don't end up with the same individuals, or individuals that are not going to are not prepared to do the work that's needed, because we are walking into, you know, a lot that's already happening. So it's going to take a special bunch. But listen, the individuals that are running in Brampton, I have my favorites across the board for all of the wards in Brampton. And we do, it's kind of exciting. We have an opportunity to really change the face of council, of the trustees, sorry, not councils, of the trustees. And it's unprecedented as well. There hasn't been this much change as far as I know in quite some time. So we just need everybody to come out and vote. If you don't think that your vote matters, it absolutely does. If you're complacent or there's apathy, please, you know, give it one more try for this next election.
and it's good to get to know your trustees, like it's really important. Like, I mean, even if you don't have children, it's really for the future. And honestly, children, when they're, out of sorts, it affects the community at large. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Children staying in school and having a successful experience in school is critical. These were some of we had a fundraiser this past weekend,
Yes.
and as we sat at this table, the table that I was at, with educators, counselors, just different walks of life, but a lot of them seem to be in the educational sector. And you heard a lot of concerns about, roles that have been created where they've been sandbagged, that they want to give so much more to the students, but then they're in this program that they're bringing, that they offer to the students. And then there's a criteria that is just pretty much not allowing them to be as effective. What are some of the items? I know you said you sort of touched on it already. The first order of business is um, removing the supervision, or at least we can even not even say that we're removing the supervision, but having you guys included. Because Canada is all about inclusion. Like, hey, let's get
Mhm.
you guys included. I'm not just, this role, which we do appreciate. You need your school board trustees. Schools need order. The school board trustee is that supervision of that sector of schools, that really need that support. And again, the mission that you are on, what you want to bring to all these schools, it will impact the community, as I said earlier, at large.
Mhm.
Now, if you're able to share with your listeners, because I looked at some of your stuff, and your supporters as well that have joined with you today. So if you see anybody there that you might know, um, how do you plan to bridge the learning gap over the past 2 years? Like, what do you have in mind, without giving away too much before you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. I see it.
Yeah.
But how do you plan to bridge that gap? What programs would you like to see implemented, or will you be implemented?
Hmm. Well, there is a program that's being rolled out from a provincial standpoint.
Okay.
It about closing the gap. So we have to remember the different levels of government and what's being impacted at the municipal level, at the provincial level, and so on and so forth. So a lot of decisions get made at the provincial level, and then we're there to see them through, to give recommendations and so on and so forth. So there is this action, and to be able to uphold that. I mean, in my perfect world, I would, we have to recognize that there is the gap first and foremost. Like, there have been a lot of children who haven't learned anything over the last 2 years, depending on what their challenges were. If they had access to devices, if they were able to even go to school during that time, other having siblings at different grade levels in the household, parents, whether or not they were working from home or not, or parents became teachers because they had, and tech and IT people as well, because you had to be able to get your child connected online. There's just so many barriers
So
that
true.
would have interrupted their learning,
Oh God, I could
and
hear the
that's
anxiety in the parents. The anxiety in the parents, and then the
yeah,
hunger in the children. When they see people, they were like, oh my God, oh,
yeah,
it's just, oh my goodness.
yeah. So there's the recognition of the gap, and then there's the mental health piece. I mean, a child cannot learn if they are not, in that mindset,
Yeah.
and if they're anxious and feeling anxiety or stressed, if they're not being taken care of, or they're not, their mental health and their mental wellness is not being taken into consideration, then it's very challenging for them to sit and be present for lessons and learning.
This is it. And I wonder, like, I mean, I've heard some teachers, friends have spoken about the gap, like, oh my God, like recognizing that this student didn't, like early in the game, like let's say early in 2020, they recognize that these students don't know X, Y, Z. Do you think some of these gaps were pre-existing to the 2020?
Before
With
the pandemic, you mean?
more revealed during this last 2 years as well? I feel like that's what I question, you know. Or do you feel that the 2 years well, the 2 years not naturally would have created a gap
Yeah.
for everyone?
I mean, like it's a mixed bag, right? A lot there's young people, and this is just having conversations with parents while I was in my role as an education assistant. There's parents whose children excelled, you know, because everybody has different learning styles, right? And so there are some young people who excel doing the online learning, and then there are others who struggle to even, you know, get log on. And if
Wow.
you're not logging on, then you're not learning, and if you're not learning, there's gonna absolutely be a gap. And so so a child that was struggling in class prior to the pandemic, and now they're doing this virtual learning thing and they're loving it, and so then now what was an issue before is no longer an issue. So it really depends. It really depends on the child. It really depends on what their learning environment was while they were at home. So
Yeah, it
but
does.
these are all the things that need to be taken into consideration when we're making decisions, you know,
Yeah.
at the table. It's like, it's that lived experience. It's that, you know, having those conversations with parents and young people too. You know, they sharing their anxiety. I've spoken to young people who are just they were scared of going back to school. Or, you know, you finish elementary school online, and now you're going back and you're in high school. It's not the same people, it's not the same friends. It's like all of those, you know, there was no transition. So these are
Quite,
all things that, uh, sorry?
it's quite the reset.
Yeah,
Bam.
it's a major reset. And what we know about young people is that they need structure, they need routine, all of those things. And then we're just throwing that just got thrown out the window with
Out the
that.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
So
goodness.
they're set up they're not being set up in a good way for them, for their success. And so I like when I start talking about it, I'm just like, wow. But that's the thing again, like I can bring this perspective because often if you're not in it and you're not experiencing it and you haven't seen it, then you
Mm.
forget that or you're not aware that all of these things need to be taken into consideration, or at least need to be acknowledged.
Yes. And I mean, this is something that I'm, you know, appealing to everybody to really make sure that, you know, you look into who your school board trustees in your ward. Sophia Jackson, we have here with us today, for those of you who joined. She's running for school board trustee in Brampton wards 1 and 5. And we're just, again, as I said, happy to have you. And we're so glad that you put in your ballot. I feel your passion. Your resume is like, woo, you're ready. You're ready for this position. And this is key. You know, you had mentioned about, we were just speaking about the mental health, you know, and then, you know, reducing the gap in this. Is there any, like, maybe like even mindfulness programs that you would like to see implemented in the schools? Because these prep schools have all these great programs, you said, you know, like different models, you know, what programs might you, like, they might need right away to help them heal, that you would.
um like I said, well, I don't know if I said this, but I'm a big fan of experiential learning and
Yes.
mindfulness activities, like coloring, like there's so many different things that what's an entry activity, like incorporating it into your day. But you
Okay.
know, like this is where our teachers come in, and
Yes.
I have been endorsed by the oh on the teachers union, OSSTF. So that which says that, you know, my views are aligned with what their views are, with, you know, how we nurture and support young people. And teachers, that's where they come in. You know, that's what they're they're really good at, is being able to determine what the needs are in a classroom and then execute on those things. So if I was in a classroom, you know, me being my EA self, you know, I'd be entry activities when my
Coming.
students come in for the beginning of their day, to transition, to have a successful transition, because, you know, who knows what's happening at home and what their morning was like. So to have something to just to be mindful, to sit and to chill for a little bit. It could be coloring, it could be, you know, having some time with their friends to just, you know, sit on the carpet and talk or whatever, depending on the age group, of course.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, some of those things can definitely help with just doing a reset, just coming into the classroom.
Yeah,
And these are like the little things that we take for granted sometimes. You know, as adults, we leave our homes, we get to work, and then there's just this expectation that we're going to just dive right in. And often we do, but young people, sometimes they just need a little break. Um,
absolutely. And
and
again, that can be incorporated into the daily syllabus. You know what I mean? I
mm-hmm.
This is great. This is
Our
absolutely. And if
curriculum.
you mentioned coloring, and you do have a coloring book. So I was like, you have a coloring book of me. And you have to tell us a little bit. Let's segue a little bit from the campaign a bit, but tell us about that your coloring book that you have out there. Um,
Yeah, I have two coloring books. They're under the brand of Soulful Color. So the company's name is Soulful Color, and then there's two affirmation coloring books, and they're like my babies. 40 images, original images. My brother is the artist, and we sat down. The second book we created during the pandemic, and
yeah.
we sat down and brainstormed different images and themes to go along with the affirmations that I had written, and came up with Soulful Color Mindset Money Matters. That's the name of the second book. And my mindset money matters is just, you know, being in a positive mindset and understanding like money is important. It's not the end all be all, but you know, it is.
Wow.
It is, it isn't, but
Get those coloring books. Those sound fun and intriguing. This is awesome. Very creative. Wow. And then you also are a singer as well. I was combing your link tree.
oh, my link to, yeah.
More about Sophia Jackson, and just this is what I like the diversity that you bring to the table as a school board trustee. You understand youth. You also have the education to back it. You understand financial well-being, which is key. Kind of, it helps you to make sounder decisions when you can have a broader scope of what's going on, and then combined with your passion, that, like you said earlier, you said your views line up with that board. What was the name of the board?
With the teachers union, OSSTF.
With it, and they're endorsing you, which is awesome, which is enough respect. But I think it's your actions that line up with their views. That's what I think. Otherwise, they wouldn't endorse it. You don't just have, it's just not talk, but it's your actions. Is that I like how the fact that you want to integrate, um, the schools. Oh, you got wards 5 and 6, and that's 1 on 5. but see it, you know. But anyways, yes. Let's see here.
But maybe we could say like words 1 in 5. First of all, you can go to the City of Brampton website, type in elections, and then you can determine what word you're in. So you can see what word you're in, type in your address, and it'll tell you. But I'll share anybody who's in Brampton and listening, you'll know that the street names, as I call them out, we're starting from the east side is like the 410, and then Rutherford, and then like Hanson, Center, Maine,
Yeah.
McLaughlin, Chinguacousy, all the way out to Mississauga Road. So that's like a big area. And then when we're talking from south is Queen Street, and then we go north to Beauvais. So that's a huge area. If you live in between those, within that area, then you would be able to vote for me on October 24th. And then also recognizing that there will be advanced polls happening on October 7th, 8th, 9th, 14th, and 15th.
October 7th, 8th, 9th,
14th, and 15th.
14th, and 15th. Listeners, viewers, all your people and who's in the municipal, vote, vote, vote. But those who have friends in Brampton, wards 1 and 5, tell them to vote for Sophia Jackson for school board trustee. You have to vote. You don't want to, because I have done it where it's like, oh God, I've researched who, this person in this area, who's running for wards 1 and 5, but I don't really sometimes always look at the trustee because my kids have already graduated college. You know what I mean? Your mind's not thinking, but suddenly, it matters because you know that it's your community.
Yes.
And youth, if they are out of sorts, as I mentioned earlier, it's not good for everybody.
Right.
So
yeah.
just need someone like you who even understands the justice system, everything. Like it's phenomenal what you bring to the table. Where can our listeners, and actually as I put that out there too, listeners, viewers, if you have any questions, you can drop a question on the Twitter, Roots Reggae Hub, as well as on the Roots Reggae Hub. There's a little question mark on the corner. You could just put in your questions if you want to learn a little bit more about the municipality. Okay, so we do already have a question that jumped in. Does the third party ever go into the schools physically to see what is happening in the schools? Like, that should, that's a good question.
This is the person that was appointed by the Minister of Education. I can't answer that question definitively, so don't quote me, but I would think no, probably not. But like I said, don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. All right, and let me just go down the wall here. Thank you, Steve, for that question. That is quite interesting. That has to be changed.
Well, I mean,
we should go from an inclusive perspective.
Like I said, the fact that I have that in the classroom on the playground experience is rare for somebody who's deciding to run as a trustee. Like even some of the other candidates who are running for the same position in my wards are real estate agents or accountants. And then of course we have the incumbent who's been there 19 years. So a lot of people believe it's time for a change.
Change.
Yeah. So.
And it's funny that most of these people would say that, I strongly believe that you should have a limit on the terms. 19 years is a little bit way too long to be occupying a space. I don't know. I mean, as mentioned earlier, Brampton schools need a lot of work, a lot of help. I don't care what nobody says. My kids went through the French school system and it was hard. It was really hard out there, and there's needed, it's interesting out there. So we need someone who knows, who's
the
It
the lay
is.
of the land, and has that experience, and then also is just somebody who's responsive, who's available to listen. And I've already been making connections as I'm canvassing at the doors. And I like to take a page from there is the one trustee, Kathy McDonald. I think that it would be great if she's reelected. And then at there's David Bosveld, who's running in 2 and 6. He should be elected. There's Andre Levy. There's Carla. There's a whole bunch of,
And there's Sophia
and then
Jackson.
there's me. There's Sophia Jackson. But keep in mind, I'm running in 1 and 5. There's 7 and 8. There's 2 and 6. There's all these regions across Brampton. We have a lot of seats at the table that need to be filled. So yes, absolutely. If you see Jackson on your ballot, put a tick beside it, but also be informed about who else is running. And we have a very unique opportunity here to bring some people in to the trustee table who really care about our communities. They live in the community. They have children who go to school in the community. Like myself, I worked in Brampton at my school, and I live in Brampton. So this is who you want to have at the table, and
Yeah.
not to say anything negative about somebody who's in real estate or accounting or whatever, because those are valuable skills as well. But somebody I'm well rounded. I have all of it. This is one of my opportunities to big up myself.
Yes, big up yourself. Yes. And I mean, oh, we have another question in from Steve Adi. How do you plan to utilize the classrooms to enhance the students' learning abilities? Are you interested in doing something of that sort?
That's not up to me. That's a great question. As what I have been doing is connecting with teachers, educators, social workers.
Yes,
Yeah, and that's a side note from me being a trustee, right? And having the books available, because it's a resource. There are a lot of there's a call to have culturally appropriate resources for that question. So any educators or social workers or out there, you can hit me up about Soulful Color.
Yes, and I know that they need to hit you up about joining you for any blitz or door knocking because you have what? Is it? I guess it's like 4 weeks.
Yeah, before the E-Day at Election Day on the 24th, but we do have early polls, and I'm out canvassing every evening, so or afternoon. So I need people. Anybody who wants to volunteer and come on out would be amazing. Plus, I have over 1,000 sign locations that I need to put signs up as well, and
Ex-
that's going to be happening starting as early as this weekend, but definitely on Monday. And so,
You can
who's coming?
give
Who's
me.
coming?
I'm coming. I'm coming. Come. I'm in a different municipal, but I'm a farmer out in your municipal, so I
Mm.
we met, so I am definitely a supporter and a believer in you, and I know you got this, Yes, and how do they volunteer and sign up? Where? Tell them where, please, please.
Hmm. Well, send me an email at vote@sophiajackson.ca, and you can reach me on Instagram too at SoJSoul. Send me a direct message there. And then
Okay.
I can add you. We have a WhatsApp group, and we can connect.
Is that correct? Vote at sophiajackson.ca.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so you guys can grab that.
and then at Soj Soul for my Instagram page.
Okay. So this has been great. Oh my goodness. I'm just so excited that we have someone that's gonna make
Yeah.
and
And you touched on a couple of things, like when you said that, you know, you don't have children that are in school anymore. I get that at the door a lot, where people's like say that they don't have school age children, and that ties into another thing that you said, which was that children's experience at school in their formative years at school takes them through to adulthood. And if we want to have, you know, young people who are giving to society, who are productive, and you know are not, you know,
vigilant.
living on the margins, that are just being productive citizens, we
Yes,
need to make sure that they're doing well in school. And that's not just the responsibility of people who have children. It's our all of our responsibility. You
yes.
know, I'll use the analogy of it takes a village, right?
That's
And in a village, some people have children and some people don't, but it's all of our responsibility to vote. You
yeah,
know, we need to vote. And I understand the complacency 100%. Like, I totally get it. The apathy, you know, my vote doesn't matter, it doesn't make a difference, all the politicians, da 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 da. Like, I don't want to not give weight to that, because I understand. I feel you.
yes.
This election is different.
Well, how
It's
about I say you're a very good reason to vote. For those who never wanted to vote before, I remember another brother that was on a construction worker, and he was on right beside me, and he said he's not big on politics and all that stuff there. And you know, my little quote of policy change affects you and me. He goes, no, the reason why he's gonna vote is because there's people like you, that are in candidacy for vote. Well, safe. Well said. Yes, respect. There's people like you, like Sophia Jackson. So there's a good reason to vote. Those of you that are in wards 1 and 5 in Brampton, in the municipal of Brampton, you definitely need to vote. And Sophia, before you go, if you could just let our listeners, viewers know again, election day.
election
Pre-election day.
day,
Actually, let's start with early election day.
early election dates. And early election dates, you have a little bit more flexibility, because you can go to any polling station. It doesn't have to be the one in your area. So that's on the 7th October. So that's like next week,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
Or like week and a bit, that
Yeah.
early polls start. And that's and if you get out early, then you don't have to worry about rushing on the 24th. So early polls are October 7th, October 8th, October 9th, then the 14th and the 15th. And then we get to see results after each voting day. So we'll start to see how things are shaping up. So
Yeah.
the more people that vote, the better way we can gauge how we're doing, which we can still continue door knocking, because we'll have time up until October 24th. So if I'm falling behind, then I know I need to, you know, put put the pedal to the metal
Yeah.
and get out there a bit more, maybe get some more signs. So it's a great way to help me out, help the other candidates out by going out to vote. So that, again, October early polls, October 7th, 8th, 9th, 14th, 15th, and then E-Day, election day, is October 24th, starting from, I believe it's 10 a.m. to 8 or 9 p.m. But definitely go to, and I have a video. Go over to my Instagram page at Soj Soul, and I have a video that I created
Okay.
showing you where to go and how to find out what ward you're in, as
Nice.
well as how to find out where your polling station is based on your location and your address. So you can go check that out. But you go to the City of Brampton website. Like how I saw somebody had asked a little further back, how do we get more people out to vote? It's like, we got to talk about it. Just talk about it. Everybody that you know, you'd be like, are you voting? Are you voting? Are you voting? Like, because at the end of the day, we all should be voting in this. If we're a citizen, if you're a Canadian citizen, because permanent residents can't vote, and being here on a work permit, education, a student, you can't vote. But if you are a Canadian citizen, then we all should be voting. So it should be included in your conversation. When you ask somebody about the weather, be like, are you voting? Do you
Yes.
know who you're voting for? Do you
Yes.
know where you're going to vote? What's the closest location to you? And if somebody's saying, yeah, I'm not about that life, I don't feel like I'm going to be voting, or then, having a conversation, letting them know that you met me or heard me. And
Yes.
then that's how we get more people out. I'm talking a lot, aren't I,
No,
Lady Sharon?
it's all good. We had a little bit of bumpy start. So, from that
Yeah.
technical difficulty. So we're not technically over, and it's our radio show. So we can go, but we are about to wrap it up. But again, and I want people to get involved. She said earlier that door knocking every afternoon. You're out there afternoon, evening. You're out there knocking the doors. That's what the sweatshirt's all about. Eh?
Yeah, because I was outdoor knocking, and
Yes.
then I need to stay warm, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I go until sundown, so until
Okay.
it's too dark to be out anymore. So definitely reach out for volunteers, and then young people. No, we have to have our young people get involved in the process, and being aware that their barriers aren't as bad as we think they are. Prior to me deciding to run, I would never have thought that I would have been even eligible to be a trustee. But all you just don't you just need to be somebody who cares, and somebody who's willing to put in the work, and of age, of course. And then all the other things that I bring to the table are bonus.
Said it. And you
Oh,
got.
so yeah, the reason why I said that was young people who need community hours. So if your son or daughter needs hours to, I think they need 40 hours or something like that to volunteer, I can sign off on their volunteer hours, and they can come door knocking with me.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't matter if you are not even from her ward. You can still, like, again,
Yeah.
I'm not from the same municipal, but I'm still definitely going to be volunteering. I volunteered for Mitzi Hunter, obviously Garnet Manning. Those are some people in the past that I've volunteered for. So, and like some other ones, but those are the main ones that I know that I've volunteered for. And Mitzi Hunter was all the way in Guildwood and Scarborough at the
Mm.
right? And then you have us, out here in Brampton. Yeah, I mean, I'm not in Brampton, but I'm going to definitely come. I believe in what you're doing. So if I can contribute in that way, even though I can't vote for you, I definitely want everyone to know about Sophia Jackson. Sophia Jackson for School Board Trustee, Brampton, Wards 1 and 5.
And that's public too, public school board. Thank you,
School Board,
lady.
Public School
Yeah,
Board.
the public board.
Public, that's critical. That's key. That's not Catholic, but Public School Board. Very key, and it's the municipal election, so she's not associated with a party. She's associated with the community.
With the community. Thank you for saying that. Yeah,
Community,
there's no political affiliation.
party, stuff like that. Like when that man shared, that construction worker shared, his anxiety with politics. And then when he met you, he realized there's more to it. And he would rather see someone in place or help someone to be in the right position, the rightful position. And it's key in life. It's key. It's
Are you
key.
talking about Roderick that
Yeah,
came to the?
that's right.
I met him so random, like so random. And those are the types of conversations that I've been having. There's been a lot of individuals, and this is a testament to my background, as a counselor and social worker. It's like again, I'm bigging up myself. I don't usually talk about myself this
Sophia
much,
Jackson.
but that I'm able to disarm and give perspective. And there's been so countless individuals that said that they're going to vote for the first time because I came to their door and had a conversation with them. And I don't know if they're actually going to end up turning out, but like, being optimistic and hopeful that those individuals will actually go and vote. But the fact that they even said that to me at the door is just very humbling.
Yeah,
So when I met Roderick and turned him around to the point where we came to the fundraiser event.
right.
So,
Yeah,
it's just it's a good feeling to be able to give people, to inspire and give them hope.
this is really key. This is key. And one more time for listeners and viewers, tell them where they can connect with you. At
Yes. Okay, yes. Again, my name is Sophia Jackson. I also go by Soj, and I'm running to be Peel District School Board trustee in the upcoming municipal election for Brampton Wards 1 and 5. And you can reach me here on Instagram at SojaySoul, and that's SojaySoul. Also, SophiaJackson.ca, and that's Sophia with a PH, not an F.
okay.
And then vote at SophiaJackson.ca.
Okay. Thank you, Sophia, for joining us tonight. It was a lovely comeback, great conversation.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for this platform and everything that you're doing with Roots Reggae Hub, and the support that you've given, not only in for myself, but also in past elections. That's you're an example, right, of how we can get involved and how we can make a difference in our community. And so thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I mean, I'm a strong believer in policy change affects you and me. So when all these elections are going on and you're not participating, you don't even, and you almost rob yourself of being able to engage boldly to your
Mm-hmm.
committees and boldly to your trustees that this is what I expect of you. You're able to hold them accountable once you feel you know this, but you also it is your right as a voter. So once as she said earlier, as long as you're a Canadian citizen, you're good. You're good. Put your name in. Find out about your wards and the municipal that you're running. And again, Sophia Jackson is not associated with the party. She's associated with wards 1 and 5, Brampton's Public School Board trustee. That's what's up. It's Lady Sharon signing out with Sophia Jackson. One love. Thank you, and thank you guys for listening and joining for your great questions. One love.